Most people believe power comes from expression, from speaking up, from showing passion, from letting others know exactly how they feel. Niccolo Machiavelli believed the opposite. He understood that the man who reveals his emotions freely hands over the map to his inner world, and once someone has that map, they know exactly where to strike. Emotional control is not emotional suppression. Suppression is weakness pretending to be strength. Control is awareness paired with restraint. It is knowing what you feel and refusing to let it dictate your behavior in real time. This distinction separates manipulators from the manipulated. Human beings instinctively probe for emotional reactions, not because they are cruel, but because emotion reveals hierarchy. The person who reacts first, reacts strongest, or reacts most visibly is usually the person with less control. Machiavelli saw this clearly in courts and political rivalries. The men who lost power were rarely outmatched intellectually. They were outplayed emotionally. The moment someone can provoke you, anger, defensiveness, excitement, guilt, they gain leverage. That leverage does not come from the emotion itself, but from your predictability. Predictability is the raw material of manipulation. If someone knows how you will respond, they can engineer situations to steer you. This is why emotional restraint feels threatening to others. When your reactions are delayed, muted, or absent, people lose their footing. They do not know if they pleased you or offended you. They do not know if they succeeded or failed. Uncertainty forces deference. Machiavelli described this indirectly when he wrote about appearances. He warned rulers not to let their inner turmoil become visible, not because turmoil is shameful, but because visibility invites exploitation. People respect calm not because it is virtuous, but because it signals strength. In modern psychology, this is known as affect regulation. Individuals who regulate affect effectively are perceived as more competent, more authoritative, and more trustworthy, even when they say less. This is not opinion. It is observable behavior across leadership, negotiation, and social dominance studies. Most men lose power because they externalize their emotional processing. They think out loud. They react out loud. They vent. They explain. In doing so, they give others insight into their fears, hopes, and limits. Machiavelli would consider this strategic negligence. The emotionally controlled man processes internally and responds externally only when it serves him. He does not rush to correct misunderstandings. He does not rush to defend himself. He does not rush to celebrate or complain. This pacing alone changes how others behave around him. Consider how people treat someone who remains calm during conflict. Even when that person is wrong, others instinctively soften. They lower their voice. They hesitate. Calm disrupts aggression because aggression feeds on reaction. Without reaction, aggression collapses. This is why emotional control is often misinterpreted as indifference or arrogance. In reality, it is discipline. Discipline over impulse. Discipline over ego. Discipline over the need to be seen as good, right, or justified. Machiavelli believed that the man who governs others must first govern himself. A ruler who cannot control his own emotions will eventually be controlled by those who can trigger them. That rule applies far beyond politics. In business, relationships, and social dynamics, the emotionally reactive individual becomes a liability. There is another layer here that most people miss. Emotional restraint does not just protect you from others, it protects you from your own mistakes. Strong emotions narrow perception. They reduce foresight. They push short-term relief over long-term advantage. Emotional control preserves optionality. When you do not react immediately, you buy time. time to observe, time to assess motives, time to choose the most advantageous response. Machiavelli valued timing above almost everything else. Power applied at the wrong moment becomes weakness. Most people confuse honesty with immediacy. They believe expressing how they feel instantly is authenticity. Machiavelli would argue that authenticity without strategy is self-sabotage. Truth revealed at the wrong time to the wrong audience is not courage, it is carelessness. This does not mean becoming deceptive, it means becoming deliberate. You do not owe everyone access to your internal state. Emotional access, like trust, must be earned. When you give it freely, it loses value. Emotionally controlled individuals develop a reputation over time. People describe them as hard to read, intimidating, or solid. These descriptions are signals of authority. They indicate that others cannot easily place you beneath them. A crucial Machiavellian insight is this: people fear what they cannot predict more than what they dislike. Predictable anger is manageable. Predictable kindness is exploitable. Unpredictable restraint is unsettling. This is why Machiavelli warned against excessive generosity and emotional openness, not because they are immoral, but because they reduce strategic leverage. Once people know you will always respond kindly, they stop respecting boundaries. Once they know you will always explain yourself, they stop listening. Emotional control also creates scarcity. When reactions are rare, they carry weight. When approval is not guaranteed, it becomes valuable. When displeasure is restrained, it becomes meaningful. This scarcity changes incentives around you. Most men attempt to gain respect by demanding it verbally or emotionally. Emotionally controlled men never demand respect. They create conditions where disrespect feels risky. People self-correct around them. This is not dominance through intimidation, it is dominance through composure. Composure communicates self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency communicates power. Developing this requires discomfort. You will feel the urge to respond. You will feel the itch to clarify. You will feel tension when silence stretches. That tension is where growth happens. Each time you resist immediate reaction, you strengthen internal authority. Over time, your nervous system recalibrates. Situations that once felt urgent lose their grip. People who once provoked you lose their influence. You become psychologically unreachable, not because you are closed, but because you are grounded. Machiavelli understood that the strongest position is not emotional dominance over others, but emotional independence from them. When others cannot move you, they cannot control you. When they cannot control you, they must negotiate with you. This is the foundation of Machiavellian power. Not cruelty, not manipulation, but mastery of self before mastery of circumstance. In the next episode, we will examine strategic distance, why closeness weakens authority, how overfamiliarity breeds contempt, and why Machiavelli believes distance preserves power even in relationships that appear cooperative.